So let me go ahead and give you the punchline first. Let's go ahead and get into this. All right, before I play this right here, I just want to let you know that the most important thing that people aren't covering, and I've seen a lot of people make commentaries about what happened with H3H3 / Steven Crowder in the supposed debate, where they got kamikazed basically by Seder. What's his name? I can't remember his first name. Anyway, from what's his name? Sam Seder from Majority Report or Minority Report. I don't know. Anyway, here's the most important thing. The most important thing is why the debate started in the first place. We're going to go over the sequence of how it all came about. And it's super important. I mean, yeah, aside from all the personalities and all the bias and the cult of personality and the suspending critical thinking and cementing people into their own cognitive dissonance, this is another fascinating psychological observation, okay? The reason this whole thing started is because of the statement by Klein from H3H3, and I'm going to quote him. There's two specific quotes on why this whole debate or desire for a debate started. Here's the first quote. The CDC is like this whole governmental body with scientists and shit that just tell us what to do. You don't have to think about it, dude. Second quote. You being Steven Crowder, wouldn't even have to make this video, talking about the video that Crowder's about to make. This is Ethan talking again. If you just didn't even think about it, with people that are smarter than you, that dedicated their whole life to scientific research. Look at all the stress and strain on him that could have been prevented. Don't even have to think about it. I don't know who said this, but it's nonetheless true. Some world leader, I think, said this, or somebody made the quote up. Whether it's made up or not, it doesn't matter. How fortunate for the rulers that men do not think. The surest way to plunge yourself into slavery and be ruled by evil men is to not think. And I'm talking about whatever avenue in life you want to take. If you suspend your critical thinking, you are setting yourself up for failure. 100% of the time. It's never a good idea to not think. As a matter of fact, just taking some of what Patrick Henry said, no people will tamely surrender their liberties, nor can any be easily subdued when knowledge is diffused and virtue is preserved. And I believe you need those two elements. You need the diffusing of knowledge, and you need the preservation of virtue. You can't be easily tamed, and you will not surrender your liberties when knowledge is diffused and virtue is preserved. On the contrary, when people are universally ignorant, in other words, they're not thinking, Ethan Klein from H3H3 Productions, when people are universally ignorant and debauched in their manners. In other words, they've lowered the standard for virtue. They will sink under their own weight without the aid of foreign invaders. And that's why what didn't happen on the Steven Crowder versus Ethan Klein H3H3 debate, what didn't happen is the most important thing to talk about. Yeah, we'll talk about the personalities involved, and we'll talk about what those personalities did, but the skirting of the issue, the greater issue here is that knowledge wasn't diffused and virtue was not preserved. And because of that, we will sink under our own weight without the aid of foreign invaders. Because what Ethan Klein actually displayed, not only in his rhetoric, but in his own actions, that, hey, you don't even need to think about it, bro. Dude, you don't even need to think about it. These are scientists. These are experts. They've given their whole lives to this. Stop thinking. Stop stressing yourself out. Just do what they're telling you to do. That's the catalyst. That was supposedly the catalyst for the whole interaction that never happened. What did happen was an ad hominem fest that didn't help anybody. We'll talk about who I think was wrong. I mean, we'll talk about who was clearly wrong, and I can't even say who was clearly in the right, because it's almost like who's clearly wrong and who is clearly less wrong. But here's the reason you want to diffuse knowledge, spread knowledge, and preserve virtue. For this very reason right here. This is the Philippines president, Duarte, saying you need to get jabbed or I will have you jailed. He's an authority. He's in the government. He's an expert in politics. He's going by the guidelines and what the experts say. Just turn your mind off and do what Duarte says. I don't even know if I'm saying the guy's name. Do what the prez says. Listen to him. Listen. It's in the Philippine language, but I'm going to turn the volume down and I'll read the subtitles. You choose to get VAXX or I will have you jailed. I'm telling you, those police jail cells are filthy and foul smelling. Police are lazy in cleaning. That is where you'll be. You get VAXX, otherwise I will order all the village heads to have a tally of the people who refuse to get VAXX'd. Because if not, I will inject them with ivermectin, which is intended for pigs. You bow down and you get VAXX'd. And you know the reason he's saying that is because the Cat Dog Cat organization and the W.H.O are telling you to go ahead and do it. Bow down. Turn your mind off. Stop your critical thinking. Or in the words of Ethan Klein from H3H3, the CDC is like this whole governmental body, man. Just like this guy, he's a governmental body with scientists and shit that just tell us what to do. You don't have to think about it, dude. And on that point, I agree with Steven Crowder. It's like, you can't go through life like that. History is littered with piles and piles and boxcars and covered up holes of dead bodies who had that kind of attitude. You don't have to think about it. Let the government do your thinking for you. On that point, I'm on Crowder's side. That was supposed to be the catalyst for the whole debate. Let me play one more thing. Here's another reason, Ethan Klein. I don't even know if he's ever going to see it. I'm small fish. Who cares what I say? People need to get their heads out of their arses, and it doesn't matter what your view count is. It doesn't matter how many subscribers you have. Is what the person who's sitting in front of that camera saying, does he have a good point or not? I don't want the Ethan Kleins of this world and his wife, and I guess he's got 2 kids, or the Steven Crowders of this world, or anybody in his audience to be, and their families, to be these freshly piled dead bodies in some FEMA camp somewhere because we all turned our minds off because, hey, bro, you don't have to think about it, bro. I'm not trying to make fun of him, but he sure did make light of something that historically is very, very heavy and very serious. Listen to what Klaus Schwab, here's another central planner. Listen to what he says. I think the volume is really low on this, so I don't think there's subtitles either. Let me turn my volume down.
We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack.
The frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack. Fear. Crisis. Never let a good crisis go to waste. The Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution. There's a problem. We have a cyber threat looming on the horizon. He's going to tell you in a second, it's far worse than the Convids 1984 by George Orwell. Oh, it's going to far outshadow that. You ain't seen nothing yet, is what Klaus Schwab is going to say. Problem, reaction, the fear-based reaction always comes. It always comes when you're not thinking. The fear-based reaction comes when you don't think about it, Ethan Klein. The fear-based reaction comes when you just comfortably trust in the experts and you trust in your government authorities, because that's what we pay them to do, right? They've given their whole lives to this. Why should we think about it? They're thinking for us.
Which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services.
Power supply, transportation, hospital services, all this stuff is in jeopardy because there's a cyber attack looming on the horizon.
Our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison.
So he's saying Convid 1984, you thought that shutdown was bad? That's small. That ain't beans. That ain't a hill of beans compared to what's about to come out here with Cyber Polygon. Hold my beer. This thing's is about to get real bad, says Klaus Schwab. The creator of the World Economic Forum, who hosted Event 201, who says you'll own nothing and be happy under the Great Reset, while we squabble among ourselves and not get into debates we should be getting into and talking about things that we should be talking about. These are the people who want to take over. These are the people who say they're going to take over. Hey, we got this problem looming on the horizon, but guess what? I got a solution for it. You can trust me. Just turn your mind off and trust me. We got this all in hand. 2 or 3 years later, if that, we're all in these concentration camps. We're wondering where our mothers and our fathers and our brothers and sisters are because they've all been, well, let's just say culled.
To a major cyber attack. To use the COVID-19 crisis as a timely opportunity to reflect on the lessons the cybersecurity.
Oh, they'll use the COVID 1984 thing as a timely opportunity. They ain't going to let a good crisis go to waste because it gives them an opportunity to do things they otherwise couldn't have done.
Security community can draw and improve our preparedness for a potential cyber pandemic.
A potential cyber pandemic. Have you even heard that? That's going to start going. So we have a full-blown cyber pandemic going on alongside the COVID's 1984. So line up and get your, you know what's, line up and bow down at the altar of Jabbo. Things are going to get real, real bad, and you really got to trust us. And that is why what Steven Crowder and H3H3 Productions didn't talk about is the most important thing to talk about. Don't suspend. Don't put your critical thinking on a shelf. Don't let somebody else make decisions for you or be in the driver's seat. You be in the driver's seat of your own life. And so I've got a lot of things to say, so I want to just head it off at the pass. Ethan Klein made it very clear that it was just going to be him and Steven Crowder having the debate. If anybody reneges on that pre-planned, pre-agreed upon arrangement, then they have done that which is contrary to what we call integrity. And they've gone back on their word. Your word means everything. Here's another psychological, there's so many psychological operations wrapped up into this, but I want to show you. First of all, let me start with the statements made by Ethan Klein for the reason why this whole thing is so important. Listen to this.
They said you gotta wear a mask, so I'm out there wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Wow, big deal. And then now they say, you know, if you're outside, you don't need to wear a mask. It's pretty simple. You want to talk about who's dumb?
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole, the CDC is like this whole governmental body with scientists and that just tell us what to do. You don't have to think about it, dude.
Let me just quote again. The CDC is like this whole governmental body with scientists and shit that just tell us what to do. You don't even have to think about it, dude. Here's the second reason that Steven Crowder wanted to get into the debate. And by the way, the debate, as far as I understand, if everything that Steven Crowder's saying, because Ethan Klein basically said initially that Steven Crowder came up to him and initiated this idea for a debate, but it appears, unless I'm missing something, that the evidence actually shows the exact opposite, that Ethan Klein is the one who initiated and asked and requested for the debate. Here's the second quote.
You wouldn't even have to make this video if you just didn't even think about it.
You're
when
doubling
people
down.
smarter than you that dedicated their whole life to scientific research, you look at all the stress and strain on him that could have been prevented.
Oh, Steven, you're so stressed.
Don't even have to think about it.
Again, don't even have to think about it. How fortunate for the leaders that men do not think. Let me show you, let me give you proof that Ethan Klein actually is the person who initiated the desire for the for this whole debate. Let me see if I can, I want to make sure I get it in frame so you can actually read it. See, how can I do this? Let's see. All right, so here's Steven Crowder up here. Hey, Steven, I'm down to debate. It could be fun. Maybe about COVID 1984. Since the Dr. Fauci / mask thing started this all, I'm open though. And it's not about the Dr. Fauci mask thing. It's about the turning your mind off and not investigating and just leaping before you look, because the experts say to do that. Let me know how you want to do it. Here's what Steven Crowder's response was. Here's what he says. Steven Crowder says, hey man, Thanks for reaching out. I do appreciate it, really. Anyone who enters the arena has my respect, and I'll be sure that's reflected on air. If you send your email, I can have Darren, I think that's his dad, reach out and set up. The easiest way would probably be to tape it on Skype either this week or next. My travel schedule is a little nutty, so I can't confirm which day would work yet. And pop it into our show unedited. You can use it too if you want to run it unedited, obviously. And then Steven Crowder says, no trick. It's almost like he anticipated this. No tricks, no zags, just you and me. I'll make sure none of my buddies are in the studio to be any kind of distraction, and we can talk about the disagreement that we fundamentally had. And it ends up over here. Let me go to this other side right here. Fundamentally have had initially on trusting authoritative sources. It's kind of hard to read because it's a little fuzzy. And to what degree due diligence is appropriate. We can also discuss to what level big tech is within the right in making editorial decisions / removing content. I'm down with any of that. Be well. And then Ethan Klein says, yeah, those are good topics. We could do one debate on our show, one on yours. Yeah, your producer, though. Let's see. He's my producer, so we can work out the times. Oh, I see. We'll have one debate we can use. That's cool. I'm down for that. And he goes, okay, sounds great. What is Ethan Klein agreeing to here? He's agreeing to have a debate with just him, Ethan Klein, and Steven Crowder. No tricks, no zags, just you and me. Ethan Klein agreed to that, and then he backed out on it. That is a dishonest man. It's a dishonest man who gives his word to another man and then backs out. And you people on the left, I want everybody on the left and the right to know something. I'm not for Steven Crowder, and I'm not for Ethan Klein. I'm not on either side. I just want to know the truth. I'm a fellow journeyman like you are in this life. I want the best possible, most secure and prosperous life for myself and my family and everybody in my zone of influence that I love and care about. And so do you. Unless you're a psychopath, you agree with that statement. So I'm not on the Steven Crowder train, and I'm not on the Ethan Klein train, the H3H3 train, or the Sam Seder train. I'm on the I just want to know the truth train. But when you give your word to another man, no spills, no frills, no zags, no, just you and me, and then you back out of that on the very debate that you're supposed to have right then, if you can't be trusted to keep your word, your gentleman's agreement in writing, then how can you be trusted in the course of a dialogue and a debate? You can't. You can't. You cannot trust a dishonest man. And no matter how if you're a follower of Ethan, you have to understand that he was dishonest. You have to come to grips with that. You can't come alongside that. Your word matters. And for this is the psychological operation, guys. This psychological operation is basically saying, you can give your word and not keep it. It's no big deal. That's how nations crumble. That's how societies fall. By dishonesty and lies and treachery and betrayal. This was actually a betrayal of a trust. That's a huge deal. And based on that, I wouldn't talk to Ethan Klein either, even though everything inside me would say, this is still an important debate. I think we should just press on. I don't blame Steven Crowder for going, you know what, screw this, man. That is not what we agreed on. If I can't trust you to keep your word in that little matter, how can I trust you in a debate? Talk about not being honest. And Ethan Klein, if you see this, you have to, if you see this video right here, you have to see what I'm talking about. You have to know, you have to know in your heart of hearts, stop deceiving yourself. You have to know that you lied to him. You completely trashed your credibility. And anybody who's following that, you need to see it too. I don't care what you think about Crowder. I don't care what you think about. Get out of the cult of personality. Don't follow Crowder. Don't follow me. Don't follow Ethan Klein. Don't follow anybody. So here's how Crowder says it started.
I don't think I've ever seen a more perfect encapsulation of groupthink and discouraging any sort of critical thinking whatsoever and laughing about it with no self-awareness. This is my favorite clip of the year. Let's roll it.
That is super important. Involving yourself and backing yourself into a pigeonhole of groupthink and the suspension of critical thinking, we can't talk about that enough. That's why our society is in the shape it's in. People just complying, just going along to get along. Oh, okay, I'll obey them because they're my government authorities and the experts. That's what got the Tuskegee in the Tuskegee experiment for that 40-year period of time. That's why there's 399 less black men on the planet during that time, because they trusted the government. They turned their minds off. They're like, okay, I know historically it's not a good idea to trust the government, but we'll trust them this one last time. Well, guess what? That was the last time. They all died of syphilis when the government said, well, no, we're curing you. It's okay. This is just a little experiment here. And that's just one of many examples where the government completely shafted the populace that trusted them, because they turned off their critical thinking and they didn't just sit back and ask questions and go, hey, is this a good idea to be trusting the government and trusting the authorities and the experts?
They said you gotta wear a mask, so I'm out there wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Wow, big deal. And then now they say, you know, if you're outside, you don't need to wear a mask. It's pretty simple. You want to talk about who's dumb?
Yeah, I mean, the CDC is like this whole governmental body with scientists and that just tell us what to do. You don't have to think about it, dude.
So in the eyes of H3H3, which is Ethan, and I think her name is Ela, you're dumb if you don't just obey. You're so dumb if you just don't obey. If you start critically thinking, you're stupid. Not even giving any thought to the possibility that there are other experts out there that disagree with your experts. Do my set of experts know less than your set of experts?
After dark.
Okay, again, look, and I still think it's funny. I've never seen anybody so smug about being so ignorant. Now, let me be clear. Of course, we had some fun, but it was criticizing the idea. I do think it's a bad thing to tell people out there, young, impressionable people, because, you know, especially when you have an audience who's like 9 years old, when you've had to adapt your content to be YouTube friendly, to tell them not to think critically. Now, to be clear,
totally agree.
We usually go after political figures, authoritative sources right on this show. Usually those are the people who we have to debate. Change My Mind is not a debate, but we've had politicians, scientists, Pulitzer winners.
Now, one of the things that people were criticizing Crowder for was going after basically the low-hanging fruit, the weak sheep out of the flock. You know, this is a slam dunk. This is an easy one. Hey, no problem. I'll debate Ethan Klein and I'll pound him. And then a lot of people were saying, oh, Crowder got cold feet and he wimped out when he realized that somebody who is a little bit more intellectually superior than Ethan Klein showed up on the scene in the form of Sam Seder. I don't know what's going through Crowder's mind, but all I know is they made an agreement. Ethan and Crowder made an agreement. Ethan backed out, lied, compromised his integrity, and now, you know, why would you even have a discussion with somebody like that? So I don't blame Crowder on that front. But, you know, it's so easy for people to come to the table with their, oh, I like Ethan Klein bias, or I like Steven Crowder bias. Guys, I had a great conversation with Trish before this live stream, but it is, if you say that you don't have a bias, you're lying to yourself and everybody else. We all have biases. The key in life is to try to overcome those biases and try to look through as best as you can, look through the lenses of truth and maintain a posture of correction and openness to the possibility that, hey, maybe you went down the wrong road. But I mean, it seems like our default setting is to check into the cult of personality, for lack of a better word. I mean, that's why you have those 900 people in Guyana who drank the Kool-Aid because Jim Jones said, hey, we need to go to the promised land. Bottoms up. And 900 people just killed themselves right there. That's how powerful this is.
And every now and then, a layup crosses our path.
A layup.
You know, we just kind of like the shtick that you're only capable of. H3H3. Right? That's the only thing you can do is do the YouTube drama. So apparently some didn't like it, had some harsh criticism for me, namely Ethan. And he had this criticism to issue about us, again, not being smart enough to think critically, and double down on the fact that one shouldn't. So stupid. Why is he questioning any like the CDC or Fauci? Yeah, seriously, bro. You're not a doctor. I don't want to think about things.
Bro, do you fucking question like?
Dead on
let's say the
God, it's so dumb.
It's like so.
So dumb, dude.
Do you go to
All these ad hominems are just make you sick. What does he so dumb have to do with the conversation at all? What is making fun of somebody's Tourette syndrome or whatever? What does that have to do with anything?
to the doctor and then he, bro, I literally can't. Do you go to the pharmacy and overlook their? You be like, oh, is that the right medicine?
Yes. Yes, I do.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
one time I had to give me the wrong medication. I had my doctor make sure they got the right one. Yes.
We don't need to fucking, that we.
Do I read labels of
especially when
pills
you're
I
such
take?
a dumbass and you don't understand how disease prevention works, then you should be listening to Dr. Fauci and the CDC.
Okay, good. Think about it, dude.
Exactly.
There's another one. You should be listening to Dr. F and the CDC, and that leads to something like this right here. Check this out. You want to see some? You want to see some nonsense? Let me show you some nonsense. Check this out. The mentality that Ethan Klein from H3H3 is displaying about, hey, just don't even think about, bro. Just listen to the Dr. Fauci's and the Deborah Birx and all these people. They're experts. They've given their lives to this. This is what this leads to. Check out some of these words right here. Saw you under flashing lights. Tony, Anthony Fauci. Tony, I'm your biggest fan. This is a song to Anthony Fraudstein. Tony, I'm your biggest fan. I'm trusting everything you tell me. This is where the mentality of the Ethan Kleins of the world, just trust the science, bro. Just trust the science. This is where this leads. This is how ridiculous and cringeworthy it gets. And guys, this isn't funny because these are the kinds of people that surround us. Like it or not, there's a lot of people out here who think like this, who would actually sing this song, who actually trust Saint Anthony Fraudsteins of the world. They do suspend their critical thinking. They surround us. They're in your towns. They're in your communities. They go to your churches. They're parents of the kids that go to school with your kids. If you have them going to the 15,000-hour indoctrination program called the public fool system. These are the people that surround us. And also, like it or not, we're only as free as the most free mind around us. So if all the other minds are enslaved, guess what's going to happen to you and me?
Tell me, Dr. Fauci, Tony, there's no other superstar except for Andy.
There's no other superstar except for Andy, Andrew Cuomo now. It's a song to Anthony Fraudstein and Andrew Cuomo. Your eyes are really kind. Won't shake hands until you let me, Dr. Fauci. This is why this is important, guys. This is why the debate that didn't happen is so important. And this is why we're talking about this tonight. A lot of people are like, man, why are we even dealing with these losers? This is why right here. Because a lot of people follow the Steven Crowders and the Ethan Kleins of the world. A lot of people. And the sad part is every commentary I heard, I was listening to liberal commentary. I was listening to conservative commentary on this, and nobody touched on what was supposed to be debated. That debate should have happened. That debate should still happen. It's a dangerous, dangerous thing when whole societies decide, hey, we're just going to stop thinking and let the experts and the government authorities do our thinking for us.
That's simple.
Just don't think. Don't think. It's got electrolytes.
Imagine you wouldn't even have to make this video if you just didn't even think about it.
You're
when
doubling
people
down.
Smarter than you that dedicated their whole life to scientific research. You look at all the stress and strain on him that could have been prevented.
Oh, Steven, you're so stressed.
Don't even have to think about it.
So I don't know why you would simply trust a government entity and be so smug about people who think critically. And by the way, everyone
I totally agree that I totally agree with that. But as we've seen in video after video, Steven Crowder actually said that in hypocrisy, because he does, to some extent, tell his audience to trust the government. It's got to be conservative government, but it's government nonetheless.
Everyone has an obligation to do their own research. You believe they shouldn't. You discourage it actively. We encourage it actively, regardless of where we line up on our points of view. That's the idea that I'm criticizing, that Ethan, of course, doubled down on here.
And that's the idea that should have actually been debated, but it wasn't, because everybody let their emotions and their ego get in the way.
You should listen to CDC, bro. I know that. I mean, what's the point of government if we don't trust these whole institutions that we've propped up, funded, regulated?
Well, you don't
the whole
blindly trust the government.
Blindly follow it, even.
Doesn't the Israeli Jew next to him have some thoughts about that?
Even his producer said you don't have to blindly follow it. Even listen, but that is what Ethan Klein was saying. It was the idea of they're the experts and you're not. They know more, you know less. They're not you're not a doctor, but they are. You're not in government, but they are. They're the elected officials. Why do we even have them if we're not going to listen to them? Why even have a ruler, a monarch, an overlord if we're not going to submit and comply?
The whole
blindly trust the government.
Blindly follow it, even.
Doesn't the Israeli Jew next to him have some thoughts about that? They had to create this whole land because they didn't trust any governments that existed. And I support.
Wasn't America kind of based on that whole thing?
To say
to wear a mask, bro.
A little bit.
Okay.
During a pandemic and with an airborne virus.
Okay. So look, airborne. Airborne again. He's not talking about droplets. Look. One of the arguments is you have one of the highest paid officials in government, some of the most highly paid officials in government, never held private office, and there's never been an election.
That's Anthony Fauci. A lot of people don't know that Anthony Fauci is the highest paid federal employee, to the tune of, I think it's something like $416,000 a year. Higher than the vice president, higher than the president of the United States.
So to act as though we should blindly trust these organizations, your worldview is we're so dumb we should trust the World Health Organization, who said no human-to-human transmission, who said no way there's a lab leak, and then YouTube banned people who suggested it. You're saying we should blindly trust the CDC because everyone is too dumb out there. You believe that your audience is so dumb they couldn't possibly do their own research, and you actively discourage it. So let's assume neither one of us are doctors. We're both dumb. The difference is we actually provide sources and references every single day. Bring those up right there. CDC, World Health Organization, PubMed.
That's a good point. Can't argue with that. Why? Because it's logical. It's logical. It highlights the inconsistency and the hypocrisy of governmental organizations that say one thing and then they said another. That say one thing and then YouTubers came out and called them on it and then they got banned. This is a conversation that has to be had. This is the conversation that they didn't have that they really should have. And Ethan, as far as I'm concerned, Ethan Klein ruined it by being a liar, by lying, by reneging, by going back on his word, by lacking integrity. And I really hope that people who follow Ethan Klein see that.
And by the way, no, we're not anti-vax. I've talked about how many people should get vaccinated, particularly old people. My mother.
Did you hear that? That's another thing I wanted to play. Steven Crowder makes very clear that he is not anti-vax in the context of a specific VAXX. What does that make Steven Crowder? I'll let you fill in the blank on that. Steven Crowder makes it very, very clear in two places. This one right here in reference to the Convid 1984 by George Orwell, VAXX, in regard to his mom. And the second time he references it, it's in regard to his wife. And he says, I'm not anti-VAXX. Interesting.
Who has pneumonia. I think then people need to make a decision. I think people have their own freedoms.
Yes,
Constitution would be an easy reference to start with.
It's a big document.
But this idea that I'm anti-vax, but since now all of a sudden you're this pro-pharmaceutical company guy.
And that is that's another element that I'm really glad that Steven Crowder brought out. When Ethan Klein says, turn your mind off and just trust government and trust the experts, you're basically saying, bow down to the altar of Jabbo. We know it's a criminal cartel. We know that even CNN and even Google today identifies them as a criminal organization engaged in corrupt marketing practices, bribing physicians, and suppressing adverse trial results. But Ethan Klein, practically speaking, became a big pharma representative by saying, dude, just trust, bro. Just trust. Here, and I don't want to take his words out of context. You don't have to think about it, dude. CDC is like this whole governmental body with scientists and shit just to tell us what to do. You don't have to think about it, dude.
There's so much to say because I haven't really talked about him, but the dude has such small energy that he's wearing a holster.
Here's some ad hominem.
Gun holster.
I wanted to throw this ad hominem in here because when you've lost an argument, all you have left is to attack a person personally. Now, Steven Crowder did his share of this too. I'm not for any of this stuff. Hopefully we can be mature enough to just go after and tear down with logic and common sense assertions that are made. Like, you don't have to think about it, dude.
Oh my God.
Like he's so
Me and 35% of Americans.
He needs a gun holster to feel like masculine.
Wait, he's wearing it as like an accessory?
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with anything.
Yes. He wears a gun holster, bro. And he's got tissues next to him in case, you know.
He starts
he needs
crying.
Finish the joke, buddy, in case, you know, there's
in
a
case
premise.
He starts crying.
Get a
his
punchline.
Mascara starts running. Look
Oh,
at this
gendered.
dude.
Watch this.
He's such beta energy with the fucking cigar,
Yeah.
the holster.
All these dudes,
God.
the cigar thing is just the overcompensation
Yeah.
is real.
Is this guy
crazy.
trying to
vape
dress
guys.
like Marty McFly, or is that actually an outfit?
This is what people love. People love these ad hominems. They love these personal attacks. They love to get on their guy's side to do this. It truly is shameful. I'm sure in the past I've engaged in it too. Hopefully we can all mature to a point where, hey, let's just, man, if my argument doesn't hold water, I want to expose myself to a debate so that I can either sharpen my skills and, maybe perfect my line of thinking along the lines of truth, hopefully, or have my mind changed. Because that's what it's all about. It's all about going after truth, going after that jewel, that precious jewel. And really for the sake of liberty, because if you compromise truth, the first casualty in any war is the truth. And the biggest war of all is the war of the mind, the information war. So to descend to this level is expected, and it's popular, and it gets a lot of views, but it's really, really destructive.
Oh, there's laziness again. It was a Back to the Future themed episode.
So sick. It's so f***ing manly.
I have noticed a trend in people smoking cigars. You know, Steven Crowder does it. Joe Rogan does it. I've watched Brandon Tatum has started now to. He doesn't smoke the cigar. At least I haven't seen him smoke one yet. But he's waving it, he's sniffing it, and he's twirling it in his fingers. It's the cigar thing's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, but you know, it's not germane to what we should be talking about right here.
Only to just have a big brown turd in your mouth all the time.
Dude, and a holster? Man.
Wait, the Kleenex.
Let me just say, first of all, you have...
Hold on a second.
Get out of here.
That's due to allergies, okay? So I had a bronchial thing, which is...
Okay, now Steven Crowder felt like he had to defend himself with the Kleenex on the desk, but we'll go on to the next clip.
So you understand kind of where we've been with this show for a while. And when Ethan Klein reached out to me to have a debate on Twitter...
Now, Ethan Klein, from his perspective, is Steven Crowder reached out to him, but Steven Crowder right here is going to show the private DMs between him and Ethan Klein, and it does look like, I could be wrong, but just as far as I'm looking at it right now, it looks like the initiator of the debate, the person who asked to get into the debate, it was Ethan Klein.
I think we have the screenshots here, right? Yeah, we have the screenshots where he reached out to me and said that he wanted to do a debate, just him and I. Yeah. I said, okay. He said, what will it be? I agreed to the terms of the debate. I said, look, we'll talk about the COVID issue because CDC, that was the initial topic of discussion. We can talk about big tech because now he supports big tech censorship.
That would have been a good conversation.
Then there were some emails. I don't know if you had the emails there. There were some emails that, again, went back and forth where they said, hey, what do you want to do? We'll get on a call. It'll just be you and I. Just you
now
and
look at this. Let me expand this so you can see this too, because this is also very important because this speaks to the integrity or lack of integrity of Ethan Klein. Again, this is this Darren guy. He says, Darren here from, Dan is, I think, the producer for Ethan Klein. Darren here from Louder with Crowder. I understand our guys have been corresponding on Twitter about connecting for a debate. We were thinking next Monday, 6/14 at 11 a.m. Central Pacific via Skype. I would ask that you stick to the details that Ethan agreed to in the Twitter DM with Steven. We never play gotcha with these things and would expect the same. Again, it sounds like they were anticipating some foul play going on from Ethan and they weren't disappointed. Please just shoot me your Skype handle and we will be good to go. Thanks so much for making it happen. I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. Ethan Klein or this Daniel guy, the producer, says, excellent. We will speak then, Dan. So there you go. There's some more evidence that Ethan Klein totally reneged on his man-to-man agreement.
No tricks. Very clear about that. And what I'm about to show you is the unedited master clip.
Okay, this is interesting.
Me coming in for a sound check beforehand and the conversation that I had with Ethan. And look, I want you to understand something too. What you're about to see sort of behind the scenes is very genuine, right? I really did wish him the best with his new baby, pregnancy, and his family and his wife. And I really did plan to come on and have this conversation in good faith with Ethan. It really wasn't an act, and you'll see how it is with any other debate, and that's what I had hoped would happen here. But I never actually thought it would happen.
Yeah.
And I know you're saying, well, it's easy to go back and Monday morning quarterback that, afterward. But all along, I kind of expected Ethan to be sort of, I wanted him to be a good guy. You try and speak people and elevate them to who you want to be, but
I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward this. Here's the behind the scenes when they were setting up the Skype call. And again, this isn't live right here. This is all behind the scenes. This is all the stuff that YouTubers do to get it set up so that they can be put in front of their audience. Here it goes.
Yeah, because this mic hasn't been adjusted, guys.
This is super interesting.
Have to set it to human height since Dave was doing it. I can see some weird contact thing there. Okay. Right. All right, let me check this. Check 1, 2, 3. Good. All right. Okay, you guys are gonna call him and sound check him. Yeah. I bet this guy's gonna do anything he can to avoid actually debating. Yeah. I think he wants to do anything that he possibly can to avoid. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Wait, when you want me to admit him into the room, I'll just do that.
Sure. Well, I'll just say you guys do the sound check. And I don't want to sit there and talk with their producer Dan and stuff, but I don't think this guy wants to do this. I wouldn't be surprised if he's probably going to bring someone else on. Was his producer like a fan of that Seder character? Yeah, that'd be my bet. But hey, hopefully he mans up. Okay, you can do your sound check.
Alrighty, here we go.
So the whole time they were anticipating that Ethan Klein was gonna back out on his word to make it just between him and Steven Crowder. Interesting psychological operation here.
Guys, can you hear us?
So in a second, you're gonna hear Ethan Klein's voice.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going? You hear us well, or?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Perfect.
You?
Yeah, you guys sound good.
Okay, great. Who am I speaking with?
This is producer Tim.
Tim?
Yes.
Hi, Tim. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Are you one of the guys that dresses up in the Crowder, or are you not on screen?
I'm running the audio board.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're not the Peter Pan guy or anything like that.
Peter Pan? No. No. Hold on one second. We'll get Steven here momentarily.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna fast forward. This was like 10 seconds of dead space.
Oh.
Did Dave leave food crumbs on this thing? It's like a crescent moon of filth.
Hi, Steven.
Hey, Ethan. How you doing, brother?
Hey, I just want to say on a serious note that I'm glad your wife is okay. I heard you had a little bit of a issue with your wife.
Well, she's pregnant with twins, so
yeah.
It's like well, by the way, congratulations too. I know you guys are
Thank you.
in the same process. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
They switch
Can
and
you
they
turn
breach.
down a little bit?
Oh, sorry, am I too loud for you?
No, I just told Dan, our producer, to turn the volume down a little bit. You're good.
I'm gonna take out my gum.
Yeah.
Yeah, they switch and they breach, and so
They're rolling around.
Yeah. I mean, at first they said C-section, And then they said, we might be able to do a natural birth.
So they're having this cordial conversation. You're going to hear real quick. Hang on here because you're going to hear.
The boy is just a dick. He just will not.
I'll go ahead and pause it. You're going to hear Steven Crowder say again that he's pro VAXX in the context of the Convid 1984 by George Orwell and his wife. Previously, it was in the context of that same mRNA platform and his mother.
Stop kicking the other one. It's like I would say it's like a junior suite apartment. He keeps kicking the girl, and so then the girl wakes up. So, yeah.
So how far in is she?
She's due late July, early August.
Oh wow, that's coming right up.
Yeah, and I've got a big surgery July 1st, so I'm trying to get everything done in a hurry.
Is that your first?
It is.
Wow.
It is. Yeah, we talked about it on the show quite a bit. My wife had a basic operation for well, I won't talk about it. She probably won't. But basically, then she woke up with something called GBS. So we it wasn't really fertility issues. It was a physical issue.
That's Guillain-Barré syndrome. That's the condition that woman got. This is kind of interesting too. Guillain-Barré syndrome is the condition that woman got back in 1976 when they did the swine flu, and 60 Minutes did a follow-up report on her. They ended up stopping swine flu just because it was either 15 cases or 15 deaths, and they just completely called off the entire swine flu VAXX protocol.
And GBS actually paralyzes you from the waist down. So
that's what she was experiencing?
Yeah, when she came out, just because they put her under anesthesia. And so it's interesting, like, you know, I'm like a pro-vaxxer, generally speaking, but she can't even get a flu shot. It's one of the few conditions because of the GBS. It's like a neurological condition where she has to be careful with any vaccine.
In the context of the VAXX we're talking about right now, he's still a pro VAXXer.
So it's just been a weird navigation. But this is your second, right?
Yeah, this is gonna be our second.
All right, so I just skipped through all this kind of stuff. So basically, they're small talking. They're you know, everything's cordial, and it does not take just a couple seconds into the interview. It doesn't take very long for Ethan Klein's mask to slip off.
All right. Well, I'll just.
and then so okay, so we're gonna record it, and then the topics are just like we said. About authority with the vaccine, and there was something else you mentioned. I don't know how on
well,
topic
I just
you
thought,
keep it.
yeah, however you want to do it. I thought that since that was kind of the subject that got us into a tiff, that we could talk about sort of the CDC, sort of, you know, medical authorities, and you can tell me where you disagree with me, and then also kind of big tech, because that ties in, you know, with the CDC and World Health Organization. And I'll just sort of I'll introduce it to my you know, I have a little bit of a different audience, so let them know kind of who you are, what's going on, and if you want to do the same, that's fine. But
yeah, of course, okay. We'll let them know.
All right.
Okay.
I will go. And
so, all right.
I'll give you a countdown, and then I'll 3, 2.
Okay, here we go.
All right. Okay, I'm really glad to have my next guest on the show, and I've always said this. I always respect people who enter into the arena. And you know, we've had a lot of debates on this show, which is different from like a Change My Mind, where we sit down and have conversations. But my old Brazilian jiu-jitsu coach always said, if you come a switch, we go switch. You go spicy, we're going to do a little spicy. So we always try and keep it as respectful as possible. And I really do appreciate the guy making the time, because a lot of people has a huge YouTube channel, several YouTube channels, one of the OGs. A lot of people watch him. You know him, some of you like him, some of you don't. Same can be said for me. Ethan Klein from H3H3. Ethan, thanks, man, for making the time.
You're very welcome. And I just want to say, I know you called me, you said that I would be a layup.
I think I used something like that. Yeah.
And I think you're right, because I don't think I'm a very good debater. I think you know that. So I didn't want to make it too easy for you.
Oh, okay.
So I've prepared.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So what we were going to talk about is what we were going to talk about.
So he tells his producer, Dan, whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready, bring on the guy who's going to prove that I reneged on my word to Steven Crowder to keep it just between him and I. No zags, no gotcha moments. But this whole time, Ethan Klein he's ready for his gotcha moment. Not a man of good character. Not a man of integrity. A person who's willing to back out on his word is not a person worth debating. In my view. If you guys think differently, let me know. But I think as soon as Sam Seder appeared on the screen, Steven Crowder had every right to just see ya. You're not a man of your word. You're not a man of integrity. I can't trust anything you say. I don't trust that you're being honest. You're going to be honest in this debate. Goodbye.
About is, the initial quote that happened. I think he's looking off there. The initial quote that kind of was turned into a little bit of a...
Yeah, so Sober Nick says, whenever you're ready, Dan, prove that I'm a layup.
meme, which wasn't intentional.
Now, Sam Seder is appearing on the screen right here, but I don't think Steven Crowder won't be able to see it for like 30 seconds or something. I don't know if there's a delay or what.
And was you saying you don't even have to think about it regarding the CDC? And I disagree with that. I think people should think about it. I believe, and we talked about this through playful ribbing, in an aggregation of medical authorities and scientific voices to make an informed and rational decision. So where do you think that I'm wrong on that?
Stephen, do you know that the Spartans are like practice man love with children?
Oh, geez. Okay.
That is a ridiculous road to travel with what listen to what Steven Crowder just said.
And was you saying you don't even have to think about it regarding the CDC? And I disagree with that. I think people should think about it. I believe
people should totally think about it. Can you imagine what would happen if it went in this direction and just stayed this calm? Maybe somebody would have learned something. Maybe somebody out there would have had their mind changed that otherwise would have just turned their minds off, suspended critical thinking, and jumped into the pool of, I'll just trust the government, I'll roll over and I'll submit.
And we talked about this through playful ribbing, in an aggregation of medical authorities and scientific voices to make an informed and rational decision. So where do you think that I'm wrong on that?
Stephen, do you know that the Spartans are like practice man love with children?
Oh, geez. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. What did I tell you? He was going to do anything he could to avoid. Oh, there he is. Oh no, Sam Seder! What a fucking nightmare!
Thank you, Stephen.
I had no idea this was going to happen. I thought Ethan was a stand-up guy. This is where we are. Yeah, well, I told Dave. Remember I told you? I said I guarantee you he's going to do anything he can to avoid the debate.
Oh, I just think he believes that he should debate you.
No, he doesn't. He just takes advantage of women with mental health issues. Ethan Klein doesn't stand up and do his own fighting.
I gotta say,
it's just hilarious. Let's bring on FM.
That you would do anything to avoid talking to me. I think the point.
Does that include Joe Rogan?
Yeah, Joe Rogan and Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson and Noam Chomsky and Sam Harris. Everyone's been avoiding.
And not just attempting to get your audience by jumping in.
Well, I debated with Charlie Kirk. Stephen, I mean, it's about issues.
It's about issues, yeah.
About those issues.
That's what you're doing here.
Yeah, it is about issues, and one of the main issues is the thing that Ethan Klein transgressed without even thinking about it. I mean, given no thought to it. My word doesn't mean anything, and your word doesn't have to mean anything either. Anybody who's watching this video right here, your word is everything. And if you're willing to steamroll over your word and just back out of everything that you said you were going to do, well, you're not a person of integrity, and that's what's wrong with this world. And I just want to remind you of the quote that from Patrick Henry, Samuel Adams, whoever. No people will tamely surrender their liberty, nor can any be easily subdued when knowledge is diffused and virtue is preserved. You're not a virtuous person when you back down on your word. When you said you would do something and then you did the exact opposite, Ethan Klein. That is just displaying that you're being at that point a garbage human being.
Valid points.
You're so clever. I had no idea that you were taking your show off early last time, coming in today with your pig pen peanuts eyes.
I wish every
ad hominems.
You take those off, are they velveteen
really
buttons?
They're just
You must
black
have been
eyes,
very worried
aren't they?
about
Like
this, Stephen. I don't know
no
why.
one's worried about
come on,
it. It's
Sam.
why I didn't want to do it.
Well, let's
Sam, come on. I'll tell you what. I have a general rule.
This is a great
I don't start a debate based with people on a lie. And how about you get
sabotaging?
How about you get to a 30th of the audience share?
Howard. Stephen, show yourself.
30th of the
Don't show your
audience.
co-host.
Ethan, you should show yourself.
Ethan, how can you respect yourself as a man,
believe
brother?
in something so strongly that you're not willing to debate.
Stop showing your little leprechaun co-host.
Right. Hey, Ethan, come on, Ethan. Why do you have to bring on a guy who has a 30th of the viewership of yourself?
Saddest thing I've ever heard. So you have a guy with less viewers to come on to debate him because you can't? Why don't you get...
Apparently he had to think about it, bro.
If I'm a
Yeah, he had to
layup and
think
not a
about
debater.
Well, look, you're the one
You're the one
who got
the
personal
debate.
and started
You're the one
it.
that got angry about it.
Look,
It's a debate.
hold on a second. All right.
The guy in the black shirt is Dave Landau. He's the co-host for the Loud Earth Crowder show. Sometimes he fills in for Crowder when he's out. But the point here is everybody, except I don't think I've heard Sam Seder engage in ad hominems. He may have, and I just didn't hear it because there's a lot of talking over everybody else. But on the Crowder side, launching nothing but ad hominems doesn't help, doesn't make you look good. And of course, the Steven Crowder crowd will, they'll applaud that and they'll chalk it up for, hey, this is great entertainment. The people on Ethan Klein's side, if they're dug in on his side and checked into the cult of personality and drinking the H3H3 Kool-Aid, they're not going to have any problem with what Ethan Klein did. That's a huge problem, guys. The problem with our world is drinking the Kool-Aid. It is checking into the cult of personality. It is suspending critical thinking. It is being involved in Stockholm Syndrome. It is just turning your mind off and just saying, yeah, just do our thinking for us, government. Do our thinking for us, experts and authorities like St. Anthony Fauci. This is the problem with our world. And until we start dealing with these issues, we're not going to get ourselves out of the mud.
All right, hold on. Let me hear what Pigpen has to say here really quick.
Pigpen.
But Ethan, look, I don't. Hold on a second, Ethan. This is because initially I came out here to talk with Ethan. Ethan, come on, man. Look, the same reason that I haven't ever had a conversation with Sam Seder is the same reason that Joe Rogan, Sam Harris, Brett Weinstein, Dave Rubin, Ben Shapiro don't owe him anything. It's based on a lie, Ethan. Just like you claiming my booker reached out to you, Ethan, when you know that's not true.
What's the lie?
I don't even know how many times Sam Seder said, what's the lie? The lie is obvious. Maybe Sam Seder doesn't know that Ethan Klein gave his word to Steven Crowder that would only be him and Steven Crowder. Maybe he doesn't know that. I have trouble believing that he didn't know that. But that is what the lie is. And that's big enough to say, screw it. I'm not going to deal with you. You're not being an honest person.
There's no one ducking you, Sam.
Why are you so afraid?
Sam. I can call out Mike.
Yeah, there you go. Foxon says Convid 1984 is the lie.
Mike Tyson.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean that I'm ducking him.
You are so worried about
Why do you feel that anyone,
don't.
Sam? Why do you feel that anyone owes you airtime when you have a 40th of the audience and you've been doing the show
I don't
for
think
10 times
anybody
as
owes me
longer?
airtime. I think that Ethan has just given it to me.
Right.
I didn't ask him for it.
Right. No,
And
you've
so
been begging for it for
the
a
real
long time with
question is
everyone
begging
bigger
for
than
it.
yourself.
Why are
Yeah,
you
he found
so
a way.
He can't build an
engaging
audience,
with me?
and so what happens is he.
See, and here's some more ego going on. Sam Seder says, why are you so worried about engaging with me? I mean, talk about stroking your ego. Who says that Steven Crowder is worried about engaging with Sam Seder? I can't get past the fact that Ethan Klein lied about the interaction that they were supposed to be having and didn't because Ethan Klein reneged on his word.
Uploads 15 times more, has less than a 50th of the audience.
Well, that's why he wants to debate you, is so he can build his audience.
Sam, come on.
That's right. Dave Landau was right. That's why he wants to debate you so he can build his audience. Apparently, Sam Seder, and I'll look this up while we're listening to this, but according to Social Blade, I think Sam Seder gained like 20 or 30,000 subscribers in the last day and a half after this thing went on. Man, that's quite a way to build your audience right there.
Your audience
Yeah.
cares that I only have 1 million subscribers and you have what, 6 or 7
I
million
think. Let me answer.
subscribers.
Can I answer your
I don't
question?
think
Can I
they
answer your
do.
question? Can I answer your question? Do you want me to answer your question? My audience would say Sam who? Just like Joe Rogan's audience and Ben Shapiro's and Dave Rubin. Now they all know who you are because you had to shoehorn yourself into another coward show.
Into another
College
show.
students every day that you do
Why
that,
are we
Hold on a
change my
second.
mind.
Hold on a second.
They don't know who
This
those
is another
college
lie. This is
students
another lie.
It
The
is.
cha-
What
let me
difference would it
clarify,
be?
Sam. Let me clarify, Sam. The change my mind. Everyone knows on the show, right?
Yes.
We've had
How
professors
did
on
you
the.
know I
This is
ended
what's.
my
He's not
show
going to talk.
early last week, Stephen? If your
Because
audience
you're an
doesn't even know me,
idiot, and half of your staff doesn't like you.
Because I'm a diehard fan.
Yes, it's because he's a diehard fan. There, I had heard of you, but I just met you. Congratulations, Sam Seder's fan.
And
I'm just
Stephen
a
have a
huge fan.
conversation.
Well, right now, every time I try and talk, you're interrupting, Sam. Right now, I'm trying to talk with you. You're interrupting, Sam.
You bombarded the show to
You
debate.
you bombarded my show under a false pretense.
That's
you claim
true.
that everyone, just like you claim that I ducked a debate with you under a false pretense. Have I ever?
That is what the Politicon people told
Oh,
me.
is that
I
what they
played
told you?
the audio
So you're just
of it.
lazy with your research?
And if big tech is...
You continue with the
research do
lie.
I need?
You need to
They
research
said
and
you
say,
were
did
books.
Stephen ever accept?
They said
Let me
you were
explain
books.
to you. Let me explain to you.
They
Let me
said
explain to
you
you.
were
Hey,
books,
whoa,
and then
Elizabeth
Sam,
Warren had a proposal
Sam,
for
sweetheart. Sam, fake stand-up comic who we can't find any footage about online. Let
More
me
ad
finish.
I'm not a
hominems.
stand-up comic.
Oh, you're not? Okay, that makes sense because everything that I've seen is incredibly unfunny and unentertaining, which may explain the
I'm not
audience
a
numbers.
stand-up comic.
Irony alert, Stephen.
Comedian.
How much have you
Comedian.
watched of my
The
stuff,
irony
Stephen,
of-
that you
Sam,
think that
can
your
I answer your
audience
question?
wouldn't appreciate
Sam.
our
Here, let's go over some numbers real quick. Sam Seder. Here's Sam Seder's. Let me bring this over. Hold on 1 second. Let me get rid of. Let's see, where is this? Let me get rid of that and bring. This is Social Blade for Sam Seder. This is Sam Seder's Social Blade. This is basically the fallout, the popularity fallout, if you want to call it, of Sam Seder's appearance on Steven Crowder. Now you'll notice what for the last, I don't know, let's look at this graph right here. Monthly gained subscribers. He's gaining 21,000 a month. Wow, it's still a lot. 21,000 a month. Let me pull this over here so you can see it. It's pretty interesting. All right, so in the last 2 months, he's got 0 subscribers for February, 0 for March, 10,000 for all of April, and 10,000 for all of May. And if you look right here, just in the last 2 days, he got 10,000 new subscribers on Monday, 30,000 new subscribers just today, for a total of 40,000 brand new subscribers in the last 2 days. Looks like he's going to get a huge view bump. And this is H3H3 Productions. And these guys get crazy views, man. Crazy views. H3H3 on their podcast. He's got two channels, is averaging 1.3 million daily views. Sam Seder's averaging 204,000 daily views, and Steven Crowder, let's see what happened to him. Steven Crowder got a view bump too. Steven Crowder usually averages 485,000 views a day. Now he's got 1.1 million because of this thing with Sam Seder. And he's gaining by about an average of 667 subscribers a day, or about 4,000 or 20,000 every 30 days. H3H3 is growing by 110,000 every month. And Majority Report, is it Minority? Yeah, Majority Report is 10,000 a month, but he's got 40,000 in the last 2 days. So that's it's just all about subscribers with these guys.
Samuel, can I answer your question?
Yes.
So you have gone on, you've done the same thing with other comments. Everyone has a bigger audience than you. Because you said, I want to speak with Steven Crowder. You believe that at some point there was some acceptance? When have I ever done a Politicon? Ever? When have I as a matter of fact, in the last decade, I haven't done a single political conference. I hosted CPAC for 4 years and stopped because they suck. They don't pay, and they're full of losers. And you've been clamoring for it, and it's a lie.
Gavin told me that you dropped out of doing his show because
this is just hearsay and gossip.
How can he say
I've never met more of a
your
woman.
Career when he wants to keep
Well,
debating?
I don't know.
It's
Let's talk about any of it.
All right, okay.
Let's talk about the
So,
issue,
Ethan,
the
do you want to have a
CDC.
conversation, Ethan?
About the vaccine, because
Ethan, do you want to have a conversation? You're going to hide.
You felt so strongly about it. So why are you hiding behind Sam Seder?
Oh, no.
Have a conversation
me and Sam are aligned. I'm
with
not
him.
hiding.
Well, you're just a liar,
So you're a
Ethan.
liar.
Because remember we said, hold on a second.
I agree with Steven Crowder there. Ethan is being a liar on this. I've not heard Ethan Klein apologize. As a matter of fact, I've seen Ethan Klein's side is just taking a win. It's a win. We beat Steven Crowder. We pummeled him. Steven Crowder's side is saying, yeah, we took a win. This is great. Most people aren't going to have their minds changed on this kind of thing right here. As a matter of fact, the opposite happens and people get dug down even more. The left is going, yeah, we got to win. The right is going, we got to win. And basically, I think it's a net lose for everybody. Because what should have been talked about, and that is the idea of groupthink, and that it's not a good idea to shelf your critical thinking and just trust the authorities and the experts. That's a conversation, and how big tech plays into all this, and the fact that people like Ethan Klein shouldn't be calling for censorship on anybody. It's wrong. It's highly immoral. Ethan Klein didn't want that. For him, he didn't want to get shut down when he went through that case with, I can't remember what that guy's name, but basically it was a big win for YouTubers in the area of fair use. So Ethan Klein knows what it's like to go through this kind of stuff, and yet he still did that. It's a dirtbag move.
It sort of feels like you guys are the ones who are hiding.
Really? Hiding?
Really?
No. This is actually...
Who snuck in on you?
Who's the guy who never appears on stage, never does a live show,
but is a
never
comic.
even sheds, never even allows a shadow of comedy to be perceived on his program? It's just hiding.
Right.
Everything we do is out in the open. H3, you know
Steven, you're wearing
that we
a holster.
agreed.
So what?
Hold on a second, yeah? So? I want to normalize responsible gun ownership. Is that your debate? No wonder you had to bring in a hack for you.
You want to call it
I'm crying out loud. That was his debate strategy.
Should we write it for you?
You have a holster, bro. You have a holster as he takes advantage of mentally ill women for a show that just is dwindling. All right, okay. All right, Sam, you got it. You got it. I hope you have a wonderful highlight reel. Hope you enjoy Politicon.
Hold on. Let me just
Hope you enjoy Politicon, Ethan. We'll release the private messages.
You take it easy.
All right, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. It's adorable. Hey, Sam, one thing before I go. Can you take off your glasses? One thing before I go. Can you take off your glasses?
We just want to see if
I just want to see if you take them off, if you have the Velveteen Rabbit buttons. That's the only thing I'm curious about. It's the only interesting part about you.
Or if there's a soul.
Just take off the glasses. Don't hide behind the glasses, Sam.
Don't say let's debate, Ethan. You've lost that opportunity.
Ethan's lost the debate. All right, this is sad. This is why we don't
Ethan, shut up.
All right, good. You guys are good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Won't even take off the glasses. All right, yeah, you can give it the X. This is just... I knew it. The guy just thought...
Was that all right?
Okay, this is after the show right here.
The guy thought that... No, we're still going. The guy thought that we had no... I mean, we have the master... Quarterback, can you put on your microphone?
Yeah. Is he still on?
We have the master... No, I cut him off. We have the master file. We knew.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what happens. Like someone like a Sam Seder who just...
He didn't even wait.
He never lets you speak.
I like how he goes, your little leprechaun co-host, because he's still mad that I said he looked like a transgender Wayne and Clark. You know that's just been eating at him for the last month?
Well, you know, and this is the thing, too, is we don't do debates based on a lie. Like, I can call out Mike Tyson. I can call out Evander. It doesn't mean anything, right?
Yeah.
And so when someone says, hey...
That's fair. We don't do debates based on a lie. I don't disagree with that. I think that's fair.
You said you would do this, and you just admitted that, of course, there's no proof of that. Well, I heard this from so-and-so. Yeah, but there's no evidence. We'll bring up, we can bring up here the direct messages with...
Entertaining Sam Seder's Trojan horse appearance on Steven Crowder's show would be like rewarding and feeding a troll in a chat room.
I hate to do this, but with Ethan, it was, hey, we'll talk, you and I, man to man. No one else will come in.
Yep.
Matter of fact, I was going to say, if I have my phone, I can take a picture right here. So there's no prompter. It's just him on a call, and he's terrified. I don't know how someone like that can live their life as a man.
Well, he just also talked very cordially to you about family.
Oh, yeah.
But what I really hate about that is then he immediately pulled it, which shows no character, no class.
Yep, that's true.
Manipulation.
Well,
but here's the
he has a show that's dwindling. No one cares about it.
But
so then he wants the drama, and I actually want to have a conversation. But I'm not going to have a conversation. Here's my cutoff. A general, serious rule.
Yeah.
1/20th of the audience. Otherwise, I have no time in the day, and I'm debating every Twitter egg.
Well, right. But here's my point of how you win something very, very easily. Your whole point is you're talking about a that you have questions about.
Right.
He claims that something you don't even have to think about. That's a bold statement to make. So when you go to challenge him on that, his side has to explain why he feels that way. So he sneaks in another guy because he doesn't feel
You have
that
a holster, bro.
He's bought and paid for.
You have a holster, bro.
That was his argument.
Let me show you how to use it.
You don't have to think about it, dude.
And this
what
is here's the thing. I was really curious too, and then we'll go back to the show, I guess. I was really curious from someone like H3H3, who, well, you know, Quarter Black, you used to watch him.
made his bones. I mean, he has $15 million worth of real estate in Los Angeles. He made it all with anti-social justice warrior content, you know, triggering feminists, snowflakes. And not only that, but he was more aggressive than me. If you go back and watch, he talked about how he was demonetized.
Yeah, it was pretty aggressive.
He used the word like
a
50
lot.
times. And
Like
with
a lot.
context just said, I just love saying the word, which, you know, it's not really.
I don't know if that's true. If it is true, and Ethan Klein did an about face, that gives you another kind of helps you to peer into what his character is really like. If he did used to do that, and then he did a complete about face because of, you know, a lack of monetary gain, or because he got his funds cut off because now they stopped monetizing his content because he was talking about social justice issues or whatever. That pretty much tells you everything you need to know. He basically conformed himself to a new audience so that he could stay on YouTube instead of just staying with the truth. You know, so many of us have been demonetized. So many of us are shadow banned. You know, I got 500,000 subscribers, and my view counts are pitiful. Is it because, and granted, it could be because my audience doesn't like my content and nobody really wants to see my stuff. They're really not interested. You got to keep it open to that. But come on. 5,000 views for a 560,000 subscriber channel. Maybe I do suck. But it's interesting to see him do an about face like that and just completely turn on a dime and become a different person with a different message. And now his message, instead of calling out social justice warriors, which is basically an appeal to use your critical thinking skills, and now he's doing the exact opposite, telling people not to critically think, not to question, to get yourself involved in groupthink and just do what the authorities and the experts tell you to do. That is the whole issue. And that's why I wanted to do this live stream tonight, is because I wanted to show you what people are not talking about with this Steven Crowder versus H3H3 Productions and the Sam Seder thing. What you need to really be talking about is the startling statement of Ethan Klein. The CDC is like this whole governmental body with scientists and shit that just tell us what to do. You don't have to think about it, dude. There's a lot of people, he represents a lot of people, Ethan Klein does. There's a lot of people out there that are just not thinking about it. They just put the ritualistic shame muzzles on it. They do what they're told. They roll over. They play submissive, and they wonder why they wake up and more taxes are taken from them. More regulations are bearing down on them. More of their freedoms are gone. It's because you complied. It's because you just did what you were told to do. It's just because you didn't think about it, dude. And that's the whole thing right here. If you guys, I'm going to keep this short. If you guys get something out of this, if you have any disagreements on how I handled this, if you thought I was unfair, if you thought I was more partial to one person or the other, leave it in the comment section below. I know this is a long video, but I thought it was very important to get out because a lot of people aren't talking about what we should actually be talking about, and that is, don't let other people do your thinking for you. Don't suspend your critical thinking. Don't just buy into something because it's an expert or an authority or they know more than me. Learn, accumulate knowledge. Don't let it be a reality that it's fortunate for the rulers that men do not think. See, the further a society drifts from the truth, the more they will hate those who speak it. Because tyranny is almost, you could say that tyranny is the deliberate removal of nuance. And that's what you have right here. And then when you go to ad hominems, it helps absolutely no one. Absolutely no one. If you guys enjoy these videos, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know, and don't forget to subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. Also visit me on Odyssey and BitChute. If you want to support the channel, check out the shirt store. There's a lot of hard-hitting shirts in there. All those links are in the description and in the pinned comment, and I will see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.